Hello and welcome to the final Cavaliers corner of the season. I'm Logan Smith with head coach Dan Pfeiffer. And Dan, it was about the best ending to the season you could ask for.
Yeah, getting a win.
Yeah.
Definitely helps, and against your rival, absolutely. So it was a great way to cap off the season. I think we won, 4 of our last 5, I think, on the year. So it was a great way to send the seniors off and great momentum heading into the offseason here.
Yeah, I mean, in addition to just playing against your rival, which is always a big thing, and then you end the season with them. I mean, so obviously you're getting pumped up for the last regular season game as well. And then even more incentive to win. You're playing for a winning conference record, so you got the 4-3 conference record. Does that add any kind of preparation into practice, or is it still like, okay, hey, we're going against a rival, let's go get them?
Yeah, I mean, we talked about that the last 2 weeks of the season. Is what lies ahead is we had a chance to get a winning record in the conference. If we can win these last 2, it's a huge building block. And then going into the last week, the same thing. If we win this game, we can end up 4-3, and it's our rival, and it's a big deal in town. I mean, around here, that's Ohio State, Michigan here in town. With this game, so there was a lot at stake. For the game, and I thought our guys did a good job during the week preparing for the game. We did what we've been doing during the week, and that's one thing I think we really improved on from week 1 to week 11 is just how we practiced during the week. We started out, we didn't know how to practice real well. We didn't bring effort consistently. We were always up and down day to day, and the last 5 weeks of the season or so, I thought our effort was really good, and it showed on Saturdays. Our effort was really good, which is why we were in games and won a lot of them, because we just played with better effort consistently, and that's kind of what I harped on from day one. And it carried over going into the last week. Then we had the same intensity and the same effort all week long, and so I felt pretty comfortable that we would play well on Saturday. I didn't know if we would win, but I knew we would show up and get some effort and play well. And if we did that, I knew we'd have a chance to win. In there, and we did. We ended up playing really well and got away with the W.
Yeah, it looked like everything was going, from all 3 sides of the ball. Offense, defense, special teams was looking out really well. But Malone also made some big plays.
Yep.
They had that wide receiver, 3 touchdowns, and incredible plays on his part, of course. How does that change your game plan during the game?
Yeah, well, we kind of knew that he was their guy. I mean, that was the one guy we knew could make plays. Just give him a chance to throw the ball up, and we were going to have a tough time with him because he is a tall and kid, can go up and get it. And so we knew they were going to get a couple plays, from him. We kind of expected that. You're not going to keep somebody of his talent, down the whole game. And he did. I think he caught 3 of them. We didn't know they'd be for touchdowns all the time, but he did make some big plays. So that didn't surprise us. But at the same time, we were like, we just got to keep his catches to a minimum. We can't let him have 18 catches, and that kind of thing, And I think he had 6, and 3 of them for touchdowns, I think, And so they did what we thought we'd do from that standpoint, but we didn't panic. It was the big thing, It was like, all right, we just got to keep playing, And every time they would score and kind of tie it, we usually came back and did something to get the lead again, And so they would try to cut it, and we got the lead again. And so every time they did strike, we answered back. And I think the biggest thing with that game was special teams was huge. It kind of goes unnoticed. I mean, everyone kind of remembers the fake punt. With that, it was a big momentum swing, but they came down and scored, cut it to a touchdown, and we returned the kickoff right back, into their 30 and go down and score again, go 14. And, it was very solid. And the punt team was really solid, and we didn't and he's a good returner, too. And we didn't let him get loose on a return. Yeah. We didn't let him get loose on a kickoff return. And I've been preaching all year, too, is special teams can be a difference maker for us. And I think it finally was that Saturday in an important game. We made some plays in the special teams, and we didn't do anything that hurt us special teams-wise either. And so that was a big swing, I think, in our favor was the special teams game last Saturday.
Yeah, you mentioned the fake punt, which was a huge play when we were up 7, just to kind of keep them off the field and, prevent, a scoring or a game-tying drive from occurring. I thought another big situation was the 46-yard field goal right before the half by Casey Tingler.
Yep.
Tingler's shown that he's been one of the best place kickers probably in the country, regardless of the country. He's definitely had the longest in the conference by far. But Malone goes up 17-14, and then we're able to drive right before the half, get the field goal, and then get the kickoff to start the second half as well.
Yeah. Oh, that was huge. You had to go and tied at half. It was a big momentum swing. Anytime you can get a big, long field goal like that, we had one, the week before, too. We kicked one at Lake Erie, that kind of helped us get some momentum going, keep the momentum going in our direction. So that was huge to go in at half 0-0, and that's what we talked about at halftime was right now it's a 0-0 game. We're tied up. So we got 30 minutes now to go decide who wants this game.
Yeah.
And I told him, if you go out there and play the way you can. I mean, you can win this thing, and we got to show them that we're the better team. I mean, and that's what we got to do. And I think we did that in the second half. We responded well and got some turnovers defensively and cut down on the big plays and made some plays in all three phases and ended up coming out with a win.
Now, on the offensive side of the ball, that's where the majority of the points comes from, obviously. But they've kind of been flying under the radar this season. You don't really have we have Calvin Gordon, who has the bulk of the yards, almost a 1,000-yard rusher this year, but it's kind of like a running back by committee. And as a result, we've been one of the top rushing programs, not only in the GMAC, but in the nation. I believe the last check was, I think we had the 34th best rushing program in terms of total yardage.
Yep. And that was, we always want to establish a run. We've ran a lot more, I think, than what we anticipated doing, but we were pretty good at it. And we were always just trying to get the passing game on track. We never really clicked all year on all cylinders in the passing game, and so it was good to be able to rely on the run game, and we did do it by committee. We have that 3-back set that we can do, which is a couple of different guys, and then Calvin and Kobe kind of split time doing the 1-back stuff, and so we had about 5 or 6 guys that were playing every game, and it worked out well for us, for this year. And so I think it kept teams off balance. And if you can run the football, you're controlling the game. You're controlling the clock. You're limiting the number of touches the other team gets. So you can do a lot of things when you can run the football. And that helped us definitely this year. And the 4 wins that we got was because we could run the football, and dominate up front. So.
And I was going to ask you about that too. You mentioned controlling the clock. We were number 4 going into last week's game against Malone in terms of time of possession. A big chunk of that had to do with the Lake Erie game. We held the ball for 47 minutes and 36 seconds. I don't think I've ever seen anything remotely close. I mean, I've seen 40 minutes, but 47 minutes and 36 seconds, that's like almost video game numbers. It was. It
just, it was, the run game was really clicking up front. They handled the different movements and stuff they were doing up front, and we just kept running the same stuff over and over, essentially, and was able to control it up front. And if you're running the football well, it's because you're controlling the line of scrimmage.
Yeah.
And so we did a good job that game. I think the defense was only on the field like 10 plays, the first half of that game. At the end, somebody said, one of the restaurants said, the game took 2 hours and 15 minutes or something like that.
It was a very quick
So and that we kind of found our niche with that about halfway through the season. That, hey, we can run the ball and we need to stick with it, and we don't have to throw it if we don't want to. Because we weren't great at throwing the football this year, and we got better as the year went on. But we knew we could run the ball. On 3rd and 6, 3rd and 7, a lot of teams will throw it then, but we had confidence in our run game that we could still get first downs and 3rd down, and so we didn't have to panic, and do some things that maybe weren't as good. And so we could run the football, and it paid off for us. The guys did a good job up front, and we could just kind of stay on course then, with your play call, and we did a good job of not getting behind the chains a lot of times too. Then one thing when you are a running football team, if you do get penalty on first down, you're first and 20, and that's tough to keep running the football. Yeah. And so I think we did a pretty good job, offensively, not putting us in bad situations like that. And the defense did a really good job in the second half of the year of getting 3 and outs. And that's part of the reason our time of possession goes up too. Anytime the defense is getting 3 and outs, and we're getting the ball back and we can control it, your time of possession is really going to swing. So it's not just an offensive stat. When you look at how many minutes some of these games we had the ball, it's because the defense is doing their job too, getting 3 and outs and getting us the ball back. Yeah. And so, it was a team effort really on how we controlled the clock this year and the 4 wins that we did have.
Now the off season's just freshly started. What are some of the goals that you have? Now that you're in your first full year, this is about the time you were interviewing for this position last year. Now, season's done. What are your goals from between now and spring ball?
Yeah, the first thing is, we're going to meet with everybody one-on-one. I'll meet with each guy on the team individually here, the entire week and just make sure they're okay and kind of what we expect out of them for next year and things they got to work on and that kind of stuff. And then, we'll start recruiting. The following week we're going to hit the ground running and start recruiting and still got, some holes to fill and got to create more depth for sure. So when we do get injuries, we can, still show up and play well and don't have to worry about it. So there's still some growing that we got to do from that standpoint. And then then you get ready for spring ball. It'll be here before you know it, and you keep building on what we've established already. But the big thing is recruiting for us as coaches, and then the players. They got to get couple weeks off here and get their bodies healed, but then they got to start getting back in the weight room. And as soon as we get back from Christmas break, we'll be in the weight room every day and hit the ground running from that standpoint. And then, like you said, spring ball will be here before you know it in March, and then they're gone for the summer.
Yep.
Already. And it goes pretty quick. So recruiting is going to be the big thing, though. We got to keep getting better there. I mean, that's the lifeblood of any program is recruiting, and so when we've been doing that all year. Already, but we now finally get to go out into the schools and kind of see the kids and that, and so get them back here for visits. And got signing day here in February, and then we get to focus on some X's and O's again for spring ball. So it'll be a busy time.
Yep. Well, sounds good. Definitely was great watching you guys, especially during the second half of the season, and best of luck going forward.
Yep, thank you.
For Dan Pfeiffer, I'm Logan Smith, and thank you for watching the Cavaliers football team this year. Go Cavs.